Hi, my name is Mike. I'm 26 years old and I live in Chicago. I fought against drug addiction for 13 years. At first, everything seemed so harmless, so innocent. Little did I know that I was stepping into a personal hell that would take me years to escape.
Mike, how did you start using drugs?
It all started back in high school. There was a guy 2 years older than me, Jake. We became friends. At first, we'd skip classes and just hang out, harmless fun. One day, I went to his house and he had a joint. He said, "This is Jamaican stuff. Want to try it?" I was curious. One time won't hurt, I thought, so I took a puff. I passed out for hours. When I woke up, I couldn't remember anything. That day, I had no idea my life would never be the same. But that brief moment of experimentation opened the door to addiction. I started craving that feeling, that high. I began using more frequently, and every day I fell deeper into the abyss.
How did this addiction affect your school life?
At first, I thought it wasn't affecting my studies, or maybe I was fooling myself. But soon, I couldn't focus on schoolwork anymore. I skipped classes all the time. Teachers and classmates began complaining about me. Eventually, I was expelled. Even then, I didn't realize how serious things were. I lied to my parents, telling them I was still going to school. When they found out the truth, everything fell apart.
How did your family react when they found out?
When my mom and dad learned I had been expelled, it devastated them. My dad was quiet, but my mom cried constantly. They wanted to help me, but they didn't know how. First, they took me to a therapist, but therapy didn't work because I didn't want to quit. After being kicked out of school, I decided to get a job. I started working, and with every paycheck, I bought more drugs. Eventually, I got fired. Some days I showed up late, other days not at all. My addiction made me unreliable. When I couldn't work anymore, I became a financial burden on my family. We fought constantly because of my addiction. I got tired of the arguments and left home.
What was life like on the streets?
Living on the streets was terrible. I remember freezing winter nights, sleeping on park benches. Most of the time, I was hungry. I needed money for drugs, so I turned to theft. I broke into neighbors' houses, stealing phones and valuable items. Once, I even stole children's toys. I got caught. The police arrested me. My parents stepped in again, paying for the damages and convincing the victims to drop charges. But it took a toll on them. My dad, who had never smoked a day in his life, started smoking out of stress. My mom cried all the time. One night, my dad said to me, "Son, just use it at home. We're scared something will happen to you out there." Can you imagine? My parents were so desperate to keep me safe that they were willing to tolerate my addiction. Knowing I had put them in that position made me hate myself. Yet, I still couldn't break free from addiction's grip.
What was the worst thing that happened while you were using drugs?
One night, I was broke and needed drugs. A friend and I approached a man and demanded money. When he refused, a fight broke out. In a moment of rage, I pulled out a knife and stabbed him. I didn't realize the gravity of what I'd done until the police arrested me. I had put someone's life in danger, and the guilt stayed with me for years.
What else happened to you while living on the streets?
Another time, I was driving with my cousin while high on methamphetamine. I felt invincible, like I was on a racetrack. I was weaving through traffic, cutting cars off. Then I lost control and hit another car. 4 vehicles were involved in the crash. My cousin was seriously injured. To this day, the image of that crash haunts me.
Did your family ever give up on you during this time?
No matter how many mistakes I made, my parents never gave up on me. Even when I attempted suicide, they were there. I had a girlfriend I loved deeply, but when her father found out I was using drugs, he told her to leave me. Losing her pushed me over the edge.
Have you ever thought about committing suicide?
One night, I swallowed a handful of my mom's pills. I wanted to end it all. My dad found me unconscious and rushed me to the hospital. I woke up in the ICU, my hands and feet tied down. My mom was at my bedside, crying. In that moment, I saw the pain I had caused them, but even that wasn't enough to free me from addiction. The pull was too strong.
Did you ever lose a friend because of drugs?
I lost friends to drugs too. One night, we were at a party, all of us high on pills. A fight broke out, and one of my friends was stabbed. He died right in front of me. Another friend got into an argument with a local dealer. It escalated, and the dealer shot him in the head in the middle of the street. When I arrived, he was lying there, eyes wide open, blood pooling around him. Those moments scarred me deeply.
What made you decide to quit drugs?
One day, my dad sat me down. We talked for hours. For the first time, I looked him in the eyes and said, "Dad, I'll quit. I promise." My family took me to a rehabilitation center. It was a turning point, but the early days were brutal. I was physically and mentally exhausted, but my family never left my side. Their love and support gave me strength. After rehab, I started exercising, reading books, and distancing myself from my old friends. I began rebuilding my life one step at a time.
How do you feel now?
Today, I've been clean for 8 months. Every day, I work to repay my family for their unconditional love and support. I owe them everything. Without them, I wouldn't be here.
Finally, what would you say to someone struggling with addiction?
I'm sharing my story because I want to prevent others, especially young people, from making the same mistakes I did. Don't even try it. Not once. Because one time is all it takes to ruin your life. You're not alone. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Hold on to your family. Don't let addiction destroy you. Recovery is possible. Keep fighting.
Dear viewers, we share the stories of individuals who have battled addiction and successfully overcome it to raise awareness. You can support us by subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, and leaving comments to help us reach more people. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.